All right. It's, it says we're live. Let me see here if I can do it this way. You guys picking it up on your page? Are you picking it up, Shay? No. How come?
I see it now.
Oh, you see it. You
Yeah.
see it? You get it, sure now?
Give me a second. I still don't see it, but let's go.
Hold on. Let me.
Are you looking at it on your computer, Lamar, or just?
Well, let me see.
Both my laptop and my phone. Yeah, we're live right now.
Yeah, we're live. It's okay.
Sorry,
I'm gonna send it to. All right, I just sent it to Chanel. Send the link to Chanel.
okay,
It's
got
okay.
it.
You got it now? It's all right. This is a part of how we do it. Good afternoon, people. We are just taking the time just to set this thing up here, just to make sure that you all have the information. All right, so today we have with us Mr. Nathaniel Fray, also called Nate. Nate is a social worker and an entrepreneur. He also has many years of experience working in the entertainment industry. He is the co-creator of Sundé Social. That's Sunde, right? A live music and networking event for Black professionals. And he's at the right place. This is Black Buzz, so he's dealing with Black people, so we like him. He wants his legacy to be that he created opportunities for his community to progress, and that he was committed to finding joy and creating peace, and most importantly, embodying love. Welcome, Mr. Nate. Welcome, Mr. Nathaniel. Good to have you, man.
Oh yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. Good to be here.
How's everything going?
Hey, I can't complain. I'm living, I'm breathing, I'm kicking, and the
Yeah.
sun is shining, so I'm happy.
Isn't it kind of cool out there?
Yes, it's
No,
cold out
actually, is it? Not for me. The sun is beating on me. I might have to get a rag to wipe off the sweat soon, because yeah, it feels good.
Oh my goodness, this man is out there. All right. Well, at least you're embracing the Canadian vibe. That's a good thing.
there. No,
As much as I can.
he's trying to make summer last a little bit longer. That's what he's doing.
That's exactly what I'm doing, because we know what 2 weeks from now may look like.
But please, no, we don't speak of that.
He's
Speak of it.
milking that sunshine for sure.
As much as I can, man.
God. Okay, we're gonna have fun today. So, KP, you didn't introduce the rest of the team. You just
Oh yes.
oh
Of
my
course,
God.
you have Miss Shay. You have Miss Shay.
Hi.
Miss Shay, who is your music expert and other things as well. And
No, yeah,
and and, and even if she's not doing the music, she knows somebody who's in the biz, right? You got Mr. Lamar Node.
yes.
He's right
Hey,
here. He's new addition to the team, but he's been doing some things on the back in the background there. I guess we'll make mention of that in a little bit later. Tia isn't here. Shout out to Tia. Right? She has some things to do. T kicks, yes, T kicks. She customizes your shoes if you're interested. All right.
True.
And of course, I'm just here for my for support.
I can't. I can't.
Yeah, man. All right. So this is it. And we have, like I said, we have Mr. Frey here, and Shernell is gonna be taking it from here, pretty much.
Just put me on the spot, but it's okay. I'm gonna wing
Yeah.
it. So we're gonna just enjoy this, have a flow. We're gonna ask questions. We just want to know more about who you are. And I'm glad that you put, like we saw your bio, you're a social worker. That is
Yeah.
big
Hmm.
in our community.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
let us know how you got involved. How has it been being a social worker with the chocolate on you?
Um,
How-
okay, you want to know what's interesting? So, um, social work is it's a calling on my family, if I'm honest.
Oh, wow.
Um, from my
Hmm.
grandparents on both sides, um, coming up to Canada from wherever they Jamaica, Barbados, wherever they came from, their ideas were always to support others and help others. Growing up, my house was always the open door house. Um, we moved a lot, but out of maybe 40 plus residents, only one ever got broken into. Um, but like the door was
Mm.
open, so they took our Nintendo 64. But other than that, um, it's always been, and even the people who did it, the whole neighborhood told on them. Like it's just our house was well respected as the house you go to when you need someone to talk to, whether it's your friends or your friends' parents who can give you a different perspective than your own parents, and who always approached it with love and not with judgment. So it's kind of just been in my bloodline. Plus, my parents and grandparents, especially on my mom's side, they fostered.
Mm.
They were foster parents for a long time as well. And then my parents were foster parents and ran group homes and adopted children as well, my siblings. So it was kind of just as soon as I was ready to accept that calling, so to speak, I just kind of jumped into it. Um, it was a lot later in life. It wasn't until like 2015 that I went back to school and did it. But it's when you're trying to find out what you're supposed to be doing, but it's looking you in the face. That's what it was for me. So,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You mentioned foster care because that's something I also, me personally, I'm looking into. And I was discussing
mm,
with the person I was talking to how you, from a, you mentioned Jamaican background, Caribbean background, our lifestyle is much different than the Canadian lifestyle. So, as a
right.
social worker, how do you work around that when you enter a situation? How do you work around, like, okay, so this child coming from school late, mama whoop them, but according to the Canadian law, no. So how, and then the police gets called. How do you work that angle? Because it's differences in culture, right?
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's because it was a calling. It didn't come too difficult to me. Even my parents, like, even if they're giving us a smack, they weren't smacking the foster children. Like, you know what I mean? And then as we got older,
Mm.
um, I mean, my parents, they were very, I guess, current and kind of liberal in the way they disciplined us,
Mm-hmm.
and what it is they allowed us to see and expose us to, and the independence they empowered us with from a young age. So I was blessed to understand that there are many different ways of disciplining somebody, and the root of it is what it is you're trying to get them to understand, right? Because being Caribbean and of Afro descent as well, a lot of our disciplinary measures come from and stem from slavery. So you're more so instilling fear in the child, and not the healthy fear that you may have for the Most High, but fear as in, oh, I'm scared I can't do that because I might get hit, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to an understanding of why you're not supposed to do that, or why your choice to do that um, will affect now what comes next. And that's the natural consequence. So even if it's not your parent smacking you, it could be that now you flunk the course, or now you're falling asleep in class, or now, you know, um, you're driving recklessly. Like it could be, it stems as something small, but it can blossom into so much. And I think that
Mm.
um, including Caribbean parents, if we start to question the norm of what we were raised with, and actually find out why we're disciplining these children, like why it is you don't want them to not pay attention to your voice when they're on the street. You know, when they're playing ball and you call them and they don't pay attention, and then they get hit by a car. Like, if you can explain that to, at least for me as a child, I, as much as I was brazen, if you can explain something to me and I understood it, I never, you would never have to discipline me about it again, because it was just like, oh, yeah, I don't want to get hit by a car, so why would I not pay attention to that? And then the other side too is, especially in foster care, um, it's coming from a different understanding, because what I got to as a Caribbean parent, when you smack your child for misbehaving, it's because you raised your child. If you can, so if you raise your child, you know that you gave them 10 lessons before, it got to that. So even if you do spank sometimes out of frustration, it's because you raised them. When you're dealing with a foster child, it's like you didn't raise them. You don't know the lack of love, the neglect, the abuse that went into their upbringing. So because of that, now you're forced to deal with it from a different uh, understanding. And I think most of the parents, even like I've encountered some of like my friends' parents or grandparents in the foster sector,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember how they treated my friends when we were kids. So in my mind, it's like, how did you become a foster parent? But then you see the tenderness they come at, like they approach it differently, because I think they have a little bit of an understanding that as much as that child is still a child, they weren't raised by them. They didn't have the same love that their children had, so they have to approach it differently. But with that in mind, I think some of the other aspects that make it difficult as a black, especially a Caribbean black foster parent or social worker, is those same understandings. So I can almost say, without knowing any of your backgrounds, that all of you know a person in your family that was raised by their grandparent, or
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
you know a person in their family raised by an uncle or an aunt,
yeah,
right? So for us, it's simple. Somebody's having hardships and they're a part of our family, we'll take them in.
yeah.
My parents are going to take in their granddaughter no matter what is going on in their house, because that's their family. They need to help them. Whereas in the foster sector, there's so much red tape around it. There's so much. Um, so there was one instance where we decided to kind of live like the Indians, and put my mom, dad, me, my sister, her daughter, my ex fiance at the time, my two uncles, their two wives, and their two children, all in the same house.
Mm.
The foster agency had a big issue with it. Everybody had to get police record checks. Everybody had to go through this like invasive
Check.
sit down and checks and interviews. And it was difficult because that's something that comes so natural to us. Like,
Right,
maybe not
right.
living with four different families, but taking in people. So it's like when my cousin came to live with us, oh, it was a big deal. We have to go through 3 months of checks. And in those 3 months, we may have to take the kids from you. And it's just like, that doesn't make sense to us, right? It's like, how do we now? So I can't have these foster kids who I've had since they were like 7, 8 years old, who are now teenagers anymore, because I'm bringing in my nephew who's been around them their whole lives. But because you guys have a lot of red tape around things, now you're going to uproot them and disrupt their lives again, unless I don't take care of my family, my kin, right? So
So just now, one
that's
quick
kind of
question.
difficult.
So the red tape, are you saying, is it more prone to us versus the other?
Um, Even before we get there, if we're honest, before we get there, um, the discrepancies are seen in how we are taken away from our families as opposed to others.
Yeah.
So you'll have a black family, and the two parents, say it's a single mom and she works two jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Say there's three siblings there. One's 12, one's 9, and one's 8.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody will say, "Oh, the 8-year-old didn't come with lunch today," and make a big stink out of it. When the 8-year-old on his way to school left his food on the bus by accident and didn't think of it. You're 8, you're a child, but they'll make a big stink out of that. Then the next time they come with, you know, a torn shirt because they're roughhousing outside and their shirt was torn, but then the school will take it as, oh, the parents not neglecting them and not sending them with proper clothing to school. So you'll take those two incidences and then it'll get blown up, and before a full investigation is done, they will uproot the children out. When you'll have a Caucasian family who both parents live in the house, but they're heroin addicts, and the house, when you go to it, you can't even take off your shoes to go in and do like, you know, your own investigation because it's so disgusting. The bathtub is filthy and moldy. There's all these issues, but what they will do with that family is give them every single piece of support and tell them that they have to go to this program and that program, but not take the kids out. So it's like that's where the discrepancy is just from jump. It's virtually black and white, pun intended, on how they treat us, right? So it's trippy. And then your earlier question about social work. So interestingly enough, as a Black man in social work, it is the only place pretty much other than sports or music where we are seen as a hot commodity, where we are pushed up the ladder, where they kind of pay a bit more attention to us. And that's only because of the, you know, the dire need that's out there for Black male youth, as they put it, right? So it is kind of interesting in that aspect.
If I can jump in 1 second here, how heavily are you leaning on your social work background, Nate? You're engaging this career path? I mean,
I'm a residential counselor for youth in custody.
Okay,
right, that's my main.
Oh, okay. I didn't. All right. I sorry. I didn't pick up on that for a second. Okay. All right.
No worries.
And how long have you been doing that?
That I've been doing 2016. I started, and before that, I was a foster parent as well myself.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Okay, so we definitely need to talk outside of this because you're talking about foster parent. That's off my alley, and I'm excited. But it really is, and something I'm really.
Hey, it's about Nate. It's not about you. It's about Nate.
So we'll talk about it. Oh wow!
Yeah, no worries.
Me really. Okay, so I know a couple years ago. I know you're not in the foster care per se. You're a social worker.
Yeah.
There was something on G97 talking about they wanted to get a Black CAS versus a regular CAS. As a social worker, as a Caribbean man, as a Black man, what do you think about that? Will that?
It's 1,000% necessary.
How?
It is 1,000% necessary. You have the Jewish community has their own.
Yeah.
You know, the Native community has their own. CAS is pretty much for the white community. You know, like just like how we were talking about it being black and white before.
Yeah.
You can see that when they look at us, they're not seeing their nieces and nephews and children. They're not seeing that, right? They're still seeing the narrative that comes from whatever they were told on TV, whatever lack of experience they have. They may not have as many Black friends or family members that they can see that we're just as human as they are, that we function the same as them, a little bit more resilient. But you know, they're not seeing these things. So we need something of our own so we can see that, right? You can see when a child is ripped from their home into a place where people don't look like them, cook like them, smell like them, feel like them, can't do their hair, can't understand their struggles. Like, it's a total uprooting, right? It's like moving here from Jamaica in the winter.
Ooh.
As a child, like you're just uprooted and dropped, and you're like, exactly.
Yeah.
So then on top of the culture shock now, at least when you moved from Jamaica to here in the cold, you can find other Jamaicans who can share in your experience and help you through it, right? Now picture a young Black boy uprooted from his family and then taken into a white family who doesn't really understand his struggles and is doing everything they can to help him. Absolutely. However, they still don't have that shared experience and can't help him through those things. So on that end, there's an issue. Then on the case manager end, there's an issue because of how they talk and feel about me as a black man, as a black boy, um, and then the overhaul at the top, because everything streamlines from the top down. That's where these issues come in. You have people who don't have kids but have all the academic education, but don't have any actual, like, a lot of them only have nieces and nephews. They don't have kids. A lot of them do not engage with the black community in even at arm's length, much less as close as this. So they're the ones making decisions for these kids. They're the ones who thinks it's okay to uproot these kids. They're the ones who aren't putting the same effort into the supports that they are for the drug dealing, drug abuse families, as they are for the neglect families. And neglect really is just because their parents work multiple jobs to keep a roof over their head, which is really just because they don't have the supports to take care of their kids, and they're doing the best they can. And then the 12-year-old becomes adultified now and is taking care of his younger siblings. And then now they pull all these issues that they see and definitions that they put on us as black youth, and not all the supports that they should be putting on us as black youth. So it's necessary.
You were like a walking poster for be a social worker. We need you. Like we,
Yeah.
the one with the girl on the arm. Like you're listening to you, it just it. Oh wow. So
So
now,
let me just interrupt here. So we are here with Mr. Nate or Nathaniel Fray-Smith, and he is dropping some knowledge, dropping some information on us on one aspect of what he does. He's a social worker. He's also an entrepreneur, right? So if you're just joining and you're not able to go back just yet, it's Mr. Nate Smith, Fray-Smith rather.
okay, this is great. I'm telling you right now. So somebody questioning their field. I don't know if I want to get into this. What is the one thing you can tell them to actually sway them into becoming a social worker? What would be that
So
one thing you could say?
I would say the diversity of it. Interestingly enough, like I only went to school to just have a little paper beside my name, because then people have to take me a bit more seriously. Like,
Yeah.
I'm being honest. Like, I never liked school. I really didn't. I was good at it, but I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy, especially university, where
Yeah.
a lot of it was just regurgitating. It wasn't learning and dissecting anything really. It was just like, tell us what we want to hear, and if you do that, you'll pass.
Right.
But then I went to college and I wanted to go for child and youth work,
Mm-hmm.
but the program was 3 years and the social work program was only 2. So I picked social work.
Easy elimination. Yes.
That's what it was for me.
Yeah.
But I knew I always wanted to work with youth, and I knew that that was the line that was meant for me.
Mm-hmm.
However, with a social work degree, you can do 90% of the things that you can do with child and youth work. So plus all the jobs I was in, and 100% of my volunteer work was with youth. So I had so much experience that I was already getting the jobs that you needed the certificates and the diplomas for. So I was already getting them. It was just, to appease my mom, and then to have something for myself, and to show myself that I can complete something thoroughly. So I would, in the learning, and even going to Humber, I found out how much, like, especially technical college school allows you to explore not just yourself, but everything you thought you believed. I realized how broad social work is. It allows you to do anything. If you say you want to help people in social work, there's a facet for that any way you can think about it, whether it's abuse, drugs, families, youth, adults, aging community, early childhood community. Like, you can help with all of them. So for me, it's like, if you really believe the calling is on you to help people, then I would say go into social work.
Okay. All right. This could take up the whole interview, but we have to do the 3 parts. All right. I'm really interested. I've never looked at social work that way. I always thought social work was just people behind a desk being old and miserable, but now I know.
But in terms, but you said diversity. Were you mentioning, were you alluding to the fact that you need more people of our color or from our background in it? Is that what you're talking about, or?
Like that is absolutely necessary.
Okay.
And it is, and like I said, it is the one area where it's like, oh, you're black, even if you
Mm.
didn't come from those rough neighborhoods, even if you
Yeah.
don't have those experiences, because you're black, you have some value in this.
Okay.
And of course, you'll run into some of the like bureaucracy where
Yeah.
you'll
Yeah. Yeah.
see that
Mm-hmm.
90% of frontline workers are black females,
Mm-hmm.
and then they don't get pushed up higher.
Okay.
But I guess for me, with the entrepreneurial spirit, there's always gaps that need filling.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because of your social work background, you can fill those gaps and then, get the help with the grants or get the help with the support
Mm-hmm.
because you now have that experience. That's not something they can take away from you.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. So basically, social work is a platform that can go anywhere as long as you choose to go in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a good thing. Okay. I'm happy. I really am. Okay, so you are also an entrepreneur. Does that pertain strictly to Sunday Social? There's something else there.
No, so okay, so my the parent company is called the Experience Element. It's my business partner and I, and Sunday Social is just one of our brands,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of taken off and it's become its own community. And it's like we may
Which
end
one?
up
The parent
Sunday
company
Social.
or some? Okay.
No,
Okay.
Sunday Social has.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we might end up like kind of massaging it, maybe making it a nonprofit because of all the brilliant stuff it's blossomed into.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but like outside of that, I consult for everything hospitality, like the restaurant industry.
Mm-hmm.
I sing with a reggae band, and contrary to popular belief, like musicians have to be entrepreneurs as well, right? They
Mm-hmm.
have to set up their business a certain way and have
Yeah.
to do everything virtually themselves, and will get hit with tax evasion and all this stuff if they're not doing
Yeah.
it properly. So on that side as well. And then I have a new big thing I'm working with. It's called CMN, the Collective Music Nation, and
Mm-hmm.
it's virtually bridging the gap between everything a new musician needs
Mm-hmm.
in Canada. So like combining all the different parts of Canadian music and trying to share resources and then help all the musicians coming up. And like if we're honest, there are musicians that have Junos that don't have jobs and are still on the poverty line. You know what I mean?
Oh.
So
Oh.
we're trying to help them with that, with everything from like a pension plan, to getting insurance as a musician. A lot of people don't realize that when you're in the entertainment side of things, you don't you're living from gig to gig,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you don't know one that you can get your own insurance. You don't know how to put away your money to prolong you. You know what I mean? There are Canadian musicians who've had number one hit on or top 10 hits on the top 100 billboards who still live in a condo with two other people so that they can
Mm-hmm.
pay their bills. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, I have a question now. So with your my God,
Work. Social
sorry,
work.
what's it?
Work.
Yeah, with your
Hmm.
social work experience, how does it complement Sunday Social?
So,
Even though you kind of talked about it, but
yeah, yeah,
um,
no, I hear
yeah.
you. That's a great question. So, like I said, it's my calling. So everything I do is to help and build and support others, right? As much as I'm okay with the limelight and being in front of people and talking and whatever, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's my passion is to help others who love that, right? I don't necessarily love it. I'll do it
Mm-hmm.
because I know I'm blessed with it, but I don't necessarily. It's not my desire to be getting all the fame or getting all the acknowledgement. My desire is to help that young person who they can't live or breathe without music, or they can't live
Mm,
or breathe without whatever it is they need to do. But just like I know I was, as a youth, I was lost in more than just a sense of how we're lost as kids, but lost in there was no blueprint for how to get to where I wanted to get to. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up wanting to be a professional athlete. I wanted to play football. Kenton, you've seen we've played touch league and flag league, men's league. But
Yep.
as a high school student, I was good enough to go to the States. I was good enough
Right.
to
Right.
be afforded these things, but I had no help, knowledge base, no nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I came out of high school, I went to Quebec and played and went to school over there. And as soon as I finished that, my mind was okay. I learned all these things. I made a whole heap of mistakes on the way, but I also made a whole heap of connections. So now I can help the young athlete who's coming up.
Yeah.
So what I did was I started this company called Dream Support, and then I did that with young athletes. And then as I moved on, Sunday Social came, and a big part of Sunday Social was one, promoting entrepreneurship in our communities, because a lot of people don't start their own things because they've been told their whole lives they can't do it. Plus, again, they have no mentorship or no blueprints. Two,
Mhm.
with musicians, and with artists, like whether it's painters, photographers, whatever, helping them with the same thing, helping them get the exposure they need, helping them make the connections they need to get to the next level, and then giving them a platform so that they can do these things. So for us, it was like, okay, I know how to get a platform started. I have a lot of friends. Even if it was just my church friends alone, there's enough connections in there for me to give a platform to somebody, and then find somebody who, you know, 2 years ago or 10 years ago, they were just learning how to play the bass. Now,
Mhm.
10 years later, they're touring with a big name artist. So, how do I take now a young bass musician who's great and so talented, but only has played in church? And because he's playing in church, he's playing for the Lord. So, he's not really making no money out of it. So, he can't even come to his parents and be like, oh, ma, I want to be a professional bass player. They will laugh at him and tell him to go be a doctor or a lawyer, like we do to all our kids.
Mhm.
So for me, it was like, okay, how do I use what I'm called for to not just help, the deserving people, the people who are abused or whatever, but also help everyone else on a larger scale, because there's really just 2 or 3 degrees difference between my life and their life, and the foster child's life that I've helped out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I hear you emphasizing, Nate, my calling, my calling, my calling. Why do you see, and you're speaking specifically to social work, right?
Yeah, well, social work kind of gives the the
Or tell
title,
us,
the umbrella for it.
yeah, or tell us what you mean when you say you're calling, because, you
Okay,
know,
so I was raised in church. I was raised as a Seventh-day Adventist.
right,
Um, though there's a lot of stuff that I may agree with, or have
hmm,
issues with, or have been in trouble for
right,
voicing.
yeah,
um
yeah,
it's still my roots, you know what I mean? It's
right,
still a
right,
part of me, and one of the things we talk about, which the world has kind of jumped on now,
hmm,
is your purpose, your
right,
calling, you know what I mean,
right,
what you
yeah,
are on this earth for.
hmm,
And I feel like it's society tries to, or at least our world, if we think back to when we were teenagers, they try to
hmm,
force you, especially through school, to know
hmm,
what that is. They try
yeah,
to force you to, streamline you into what this is. You're going to academic, or you're going to college, or you're going to workplace. Like, they force that, but
right,
they're only doing it through one lens. They're not taking the totality of you and saying, oh, these are the kind of things that you would probably excel at, because
right,
you seem to have more passion towards these things,
right, right, right,
right? So for me, my mother, bless her soul, was always on me about that,
mm,
because I was the kind of kid who, like I said, I was great at school. I kind of excelled at everything I did, but you can tell the things that I were passionate about, I like everything was poured into it. The other stuff was just enough to not have anybody question me. Like, it was just enough to fly under the radar. Oh,
yeah,
he's getting a 70. He's fine. He's bubbly. He's joyous. He's
right,
okay. So she said, because of the type of person you are and your personality,
mm,
if you don't find what you love to do, and allow that to inform every part of your life, every part of
yeah,
your existence, you're going to be miserable.
right, right,
Um, so I went to school initially in Quebec for business and entrepreneurship, because all I wanted to do, well, two things. One, help elevate my dad's business to the highest level so that he can just sit back and let other people work for him and work when he wanted to. And then two, because it was like money makes the world go around. So why don't I just get more money? Then I can help everybody with the money I get, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to the calling and the purpose of it, for me, it's like, some people are called to be pastors, some worship leaders, some doctors, some lawyers. I know I'm called to help people, and I know that social work gives me that umbrella to do it in any different facet that I can. I know that when I was consulting and only working on business side of things, I felt like there was an emptiness. You know what I mean? So I had to bring it back and pull on helping youth in whatever capacity I could, so that I'm still feeling fulfilled. And that's why I say it's my calling.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that explanation. Sorry, I see ahead, Lamar. It's because you hit on all the elements there when you hear people talk about calling or purpose. I'm doing some things, or I have a lot of talents, but I'm passionate about this particular thing, or I'm driven. Somebody doesn't have to be motivating me to do this particular thing. Or you would hear statements like, if I could do this one particular thing and not get paid for it, right? I would be perfectly happy. And you mentioned that I'm happy doing, So so that's why I wanted you to flesh out the whole purpose or calling thing, and all of those buzzwords or all of the things that the key components you normally hear when it comes to talking about that. You pretty much hit them.
Go ahead, Lamar.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, all right, for someone, you would say you're a mentor, right? Right. You'd say you're also a mentor. So like, for like teens coming up now, like, and they don't know what they want to do at all, how do you help them find their purpose? Like, what would you say?
So for me, with teens especially, like, there's this false belief that they have to rush life as a teenager, that they have to have it all figured out. And it's crazy because when I was a teenager, like, I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I was grown. Like, no one could really tell me nothing. My parents, they could tell me a bit, but like, I thought I had it all. As a 32-year-old man, I think a 26-year-old is a child. You know what I mean? So like the understanding is totally different because of the life experiences, and they teach you certain things. And one of them is, as a youth, even until you're 26, 27, until you're 30, do everything that you can to attack and to learn and to be exposed to everything that you enjoy. Because so like I said, I wanted to be an athlete when I grew up. As a child, like, my whole family was into music and a bit of athleticism. My mom sang with Faith Corral, Juno, and albums. My uncle sang with Selections, traveling the world, nominated for a bunch of, like, so in my mind, I'm supposed to do exactly what they did. But for some reason, sports called me. I thought as a 16-year-old that the only way I can be involved with football is by becoming a professional athlete. As I grew up, I learned that professional athlete, their shelf life is maybe 7 years as a football player. 7 years is such a small part of your life. So what is surrounding that 7 years? There's coaching, there's like, even in their coaching staff, there's like 30 people who do little things that still allow them to be around something that they're passionate about and something that they love. Then there's the whole marketing side of it. Then there's the whole scouting side of it. Then there's the whole whether you're working with a university, high school, professionals, whether you're a commentator, like, there's so many aspects that go into what you love. So if you love video games, and right now is weird. When I grew up, video games, it's a waste of time. You're a child if you play video games. Now you can win $1 million for playing a video game and beating people. Now you have YouTube channels with 1 million subscribers just watching somebody play a video game. It's wild to me. But it just goes to show that if you're passionate enough about something and you love it enough to be great at it, there is avenues out there for you. So what I say to the young people is, what is the thing that when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you think about? You know, and for the guys, other than girls, what's the first thing that you think about? You know, and then it's like, as you go through your day, what's on your mind? What do you like? What actually brings you joy to do that you're not feeling forced to do it? Explore it. Just explore it, because it could be that, like, mind you, as we grow, we progress, things change. But it could literally be that once you learn that there is so many things streamlined within that business, within the business of video games, there's graphic design, there's about about 9 different avenues you can take in school that have something to do with video games. And those are 6-figure incomes. And people
Yeah.
don't realize it. We're
Yeah.
not taught about that stuff coming up. You know what I mean? We're taught that it's just a pastime, it's entertainment. But you can make 6 figures in this if you actually are passionate about it, then explore it. What I used to do, I used to train athletes. Shout out Jamal Murray. He's doing well in the NBA right now.
Yes,
So
Hey.
sir.
I got a chance to train him when he was in high school. Okay, I used to live in Orangeville. I worked with the Athlete Institute, and what I used to do with them, I gave them this form that it was more so to help them set goals
Yeah, yeah.
and help them figure out what their why is for being there, for being an athlete. And you had to do little things like um, have your morning kind of mantras when you look in the mirror. Fun things like make up a rap bar that explains how much you want this, how much this means to you. And then when we had our one-to-ones, we would talk about it and laugh about it and have fun with it. But I also made them map out 3 different ways to get to where they wanted to be. So you want to become an NBA player? What are your 3 different ways? Okay, graduate high school, get my ACTs or SATs done,
Yeah.
go to a D1 school, get looked at, and then play 1 year there, go to the NBA. Okay, what if you're not afforded those same things? You know what I mean? What if your SAT scores are trash? How can you help with that? Well, you can do schooling for, or you can take your ACTs, which is like the Canadianized version of SATs, and they accept. And then maybe you got injured your last year, so you can't go to a D1 school. You have to go to a D2 or a D3 school. You do that, excel, transfer year after year one, boom. Then you may not be as high on the professional level. Like, you may not go where you want to go, but you know that you'll still be able to get there. Third case, you hate school. You hate it with all your passion, but you love playing basketball. Okay, then go to these 4 or 5 different tournaments. Um, Work with an agent, get scouted, and go play overseas. Make your mark overseas, and then every single NBA camp that's here, you travel to it, you try out, boom, you get noticed, you get there. So it gives them that option, or that understanding that there are options. That it's not just you have to be an anomaly, you have to be, a Jamal Murray or Jamal McGlure. No, it's you actually have options to get here. These guys that are playing in the States have taken these options and have taken these different roads to get to the NBA. So it's more possible for you to do it than it is a pipe dream that you're never going to get to. But also understand that the journey to get there is just as much as, or if not more, important than when you get there. Because the learning that comes from it, um, the experience you gain, the connections you make is what helps build your character and then helps make you a total human being. Because again, being a professional NBA player, athlete, period, you get these, 7 years on average. You have some of the Vince Carters who are there till like their grandkids are born. But the regular everyday athlete is only getting those. In NFL, it's 3 to 7 years. In NBA, I think it's like 6 to 10. That's only such a small part of your life. So when you take it back now, if you want to be a musician, you want to be an actor, you want to do video games, whatever it is, I take that same approach for them. um, Understand your options and then know that it's a reality. It's not just because your parents didn't understand it and told you can't make any money that way, that's the case. No, believe in it and explore it, and then make that informed decision that this is what you want to do with the rest of your life.
Okay, I have a
understand
question.
your options,
So
and
you explained
understand
how from the parent
how
company
to
and how Sunday
live life.
Social came about. What is Sunday Social? Because
Yeah,
I've heard some people say it's a lounge where Christians can go to hang out, which
yeah.
sometimes it's funny because majority of people that you see, like for me, when I look at the pictures, because I'm never around, I see majority of people that I know either from the Saturday or Sunday church. But what exactly is Sunday Social?
Okay, so Sunday Social, it's three parts, right? We have the we have the entrepreneurship part, which is
Mm-hmm.
literally we encourage Black entrepreneurs to come out, to network, to see that there are other Black folk doing what you're doing. Maybe not the same thing, but taking a chance on themselves and becoming entrepreneurs. We have this thing in the Black community where it's like once we're wrong by one Black plumber who decided to be lazy and not
Everybody else get
show up on
burned.
time. Exactly. Everyone else gets burned. But let flipping Coca-Cola send
Yeah,
you a bad product. All you
yeah,
do is say, "Oh, you guys are annoying. Send me a new one." Or you don't even
yeah,
say nothing. You just throw it out and go buy a new one,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's for some reason in our community, like we cancel our whole community. This is why I don't work with Black people. And it's like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like that can't be it. So we wanted to expose them to like, okay, if you know that you are an entrepreneur and you take your job seriously and you do things right, let me introduce you to other people who believe that same thing about themselves. And
Mhm.
now let's make it a community so that we can rely on each other and hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not as simple as, oh, yeah, I booked with your guy, but he flaked. If you tell me that the guy I sent to you flaked on you, it's my responsibility now to go and say to him, hey, what was happening? Why
Yeah,
was this not accomplished? Why, like, and we can hold each other accountable, and it gives us that community,
right,
really.
right.
It gives us that community to help each other build. So we got the entrepreneurship piece. Then we also have the musician and artistry piece. So we
Hmm.
try to have a live painter every month. We have a full live band, Sasha and the Dope Band, Sasha Henry and the Dope Band, um, who all inevitably came up in church as well. um, and we give that entertainment piece. So
Yeah.
um, again, it's all Black everything, venues straight down to door girl. So it's you get to come into a safe space. You get to be exposed to dope musicians, dope artists. You get to make your connections. Hopefully, you get to book them for something else or purchase from them. Like we encourage that. And then we have the last piece, which is like basically the learning, the therapy, um, the the community building. Us as
Mhm.
Black folk, as much as we, which is very unfortunate for us, we don't like therapy,
Mm.
um, and it's within reason. Like a lot of therapy is an old white lady, sticking up her nose at you and writing things down. A lot of people in the field of mental health who aren't able to hide the issues that they have get treated very unfairly. Uh, just like the foster care community, it's the same thing in the mental health community, in the
Mhm.
therapy community, therapeutic community, where our Black bodies are not loved, are not cared for, are not seen, are not understood. Therefore, they're discarded. So because of that, our therapy comes from going to the barbershop or hair salon. Our therapy comes from, those the ones of us who are able to trust our pastor. And I think you saw it more with youth pastors when you're coming up and you guys have like, these group discussions and these everything's group for us, right? That's how we work. That's how our stories are shared. That's
Mhm.
how our love is shown as well. So we wanted to have that aspect as well. Before Sunday Social, when I was younger, I used to go to this thing called Live Thursdays, and it was every Thursday
Okay.
downtown. And I used to work. I used to do serving and bartending, like a lot of gig stuff, especially summers. So every Thursday, I'd go there afterwards in my uniform just to be able to hear live music, have that same like virtually church feeling. Music, it's on my family as well, so you know, we know how important music is. We know music can change your moods. Music can help alter whatever state you're in. So for me, it was therapy. It was like, yeah, I've been working hard all this week. I look forward to just coming there, hearing some live music, some amazing singers, hearing some amazing runs from the bassist, some amazing drum patterns, and being around people that enjoy that as well. So it's a shared experience. So we kind of upped the ante and made it a safe space for us. So it's all Black people. And of course, there are others who aren't Black that come and are able to enjoy as well. But the space is ours. So if we, you know, fake bust gunshots, or if we bang on the furnace, or if we make noise, there's no one sticking up their nose at us. There's no security walking to us and threatening us. There's nothing like that happening. We can do that and enjoy our culture and not have to look over our shoulder and worry about anybody looking at us. And then we can get that kind of that therapy of it, of talking to people about our things. And we purposefully as well try to bring Black therapists so that, you know, we can kind of shout them out so that people can, you know, on the side just happen to converse with them, because it's still kind of taboo in our community to talk about that therapy. So where you'd see it, like even in the world, so many of our people, our community is raised in church anyways. So you would know, like that's why you would see us there. We understand that there's a place for everything, and we understand that we're not here to judge people. We're here to give them a different outlet as adults to still be in a safe space where you're not going there for all the lights to be off and for people to be dancing in corners and worry that, you know, somebody's going to talk to you a certain way or somebody's going to grab you a certain way. No. These people are very respectful. They're very, a lot of them are business professionals. Like a lot of them have their heads on their shoulders, and that's what we're trying to promote there. So even if that's what you would do in another setting, in this setting, you're here to enjoy people and have fun and also get that therapy that you need for the week. It's virtually like us trying to bring church outside of church, really, on the underlying feel of it, because you can address so many more things outside of the formal setting, if that makes sense, and you can give a comfort to people to see that, yeah, we may not be preaching anything to you guys, but we are showing you guys insurmountable love. Like that is, we're embodying love. So we're trying to get you to see that whether you go to church or not, whether you believe in God or not, there's a love that you're craving for. So how can we give it to you in our own version of it, in our own setting? So that is Sundé Social.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at your page right now. It says Sundé Social Market. What is that? What is that about? Can you speak on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the October will be 4 years of Sundé Social. And like I said, a big part of Sundé Social is the entrepreneurship piece. So the first 2 years, like we've had so many big plans for how we wanted Sundé Social to go, but then life happens, issues happen. So we could only stay consistent in the monthly event, but we wanted to do other things outside of that. So last year we finally were able to, now because we kind of have our own space, the experience element, and my uncle have a space. So because it's our space, we can do more with it. So we started a marketplace, Sundé Social Marketplace. This will be a third one coming up October 4th. And all those same entrepreneurs that we talked to and got to know, now we give them an opportunity to have their space, right? To not just be on the mic for 5 minutes and talk about what they do, but to now show you guys, hey, these are my products. This is how you can reach us. Come support us. And we have an actual marketplace set up where you can go and see the different booths and support the people. And of course, there's so many different ways to support. You know what I mean? There is, of course, the purchasing, but there's also the sharing. There's also the collective knowledge now. If I know somebody who makes masks, for instance, that's a big thing right now, then I can support my Black counterpart who is making this instead of, going to Walmart or wherever else. Now our money is staying and circulating within us, which is what we need to do as a collective, as Black business people or Black people, period, so that we can have more say in our own lives, really. So yeah, that's the marketplace, man. October 4th.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, I was thinking it was like a place where you guys sell your merch, but like that's really cool that you have all these businesses coming in and sharing their
Well, I
stuff.
still,
Talking about their
they
stuff.
still sell it
That's
there,
cool,
right?
yeah.
They do. It's not just a networking thing. There's an opportunity to sell as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he meant where we just sell our own merch, but no, it's
That's what I thought
Okay.
was,
like
yeah.
I said, like
Okay.
I said, I don't need it. Like we are supposed to get some t-shirts and stuff made so that we can do that. However,
Mhm.
for us, it's just as it's more important for us to be able to give platforms for other people to be able to do that, and for them to connect. Also, a big thing with marketplaces, you're not just connecting with people to purchase your things, you're also connecting with other entrepreneurs who are there, other people who are selling their stuff, so you can connect. There's collabs that come out of it. There's
So important,
cross
yeah.
support, business to business support. So yeah.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah,
So right now I have your Sunday Social Marketplace ad up. 2 p.m. to
yeah.
8 p.m. 121 Bellamy Road, and the information to get your tickets is on the site. So you have to purchase it.
And it's free.
That works? Okay.
It's free. It's free. So we just want you to go on Eventbrite so that we can kind of gauge the numbers, especially with the COVID stipulations and whatnot. And then you also have a chance to win like a gift basket and a few cool prizes. But yeah, it is free. You just go on there, and I don't even know if you just click on it, really. You don't have to do much. Put in your name. We know how Eventbrite works.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
KP, you have anything
Oh,
else?
also,
Go ahead.
No,
our
go ahead,
next Sunday social is this Sunday.
This Sunday, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and we're doing it outside. It'll start at 5 p.m. So yeah.
All right. No, I mean, I'm just happy to always hear a Black person, in this particular case, a Black brother out there, doing his thing on the entrepreneurial side, and being so supportive and so helpful, man. And from this interview, at first you started to describe how it was that you're able to utilize something like social work and even other experiences to not just help yourself, but help the community in general. And everything that we've spoken about, you're doing it. It's not that you're saying it or whatever the case. This is what you are. This is what you're doing. And oh, by the way, you can check us out on our social media platform. We're actually at this location and things of that nature. No, man, I really, really appreciate all that you've said so far, and I'm sure that especially a lot of young people will be inspired based on what you have said, and that go out there and try and get their own and do their own thing in terms of making an impact.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, man. I'm trying, or I'm doing.
You're doing.
You are.
Yeah, I'm so used to like just being humble about things, and and everyone gets at me. They're like, no, you're not trying. You're actually doing the things. So
yeah. And then with that's why we created a platform like this.
I appreciate this. This is so important because and not just like for me to be able to share what I'm doing, but we need to see, especially as young people, we need to be able to see people who look like us doing things, because that's the only way we can now fathom us doing those things. Right? If I want to be a lawyer, but I've never seen a Black lawyer before, of course I can think, oh, I'm going to be the first.
Right.
I can think that, but when those hardships comes, it's gonna be more difficult to believe. So with this kind of platform, and it's crazy how COVID kind of pushed us into being creative and doing these kind of things.
Yep.
Now the young Black folk have like even more access, right? More, it becomes more of a reality now. It's more tangible now, and they can see somebody who's doing different things, and that they can be like, whoa, if they did something like this, then why not me, right? So yeah, man.
Mr. Nathaniel Fray-Smith, shout outs to him and Sundé Social and all that he's doing. And shout outs to all the individuals who watched, man, today, and supporting us so far. You can catch us on YouTube, right, Lamar?
Yeah, that's right.
We're,
I'll get
we're,
this
we're-
video on by the end of the day.
okay, yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
we're Black Buzz. We are Black Buzz on YouTube. Is it Black Buzz? BlackbuzzTO, right?
Yeah, BlackbuzzTO.
Black
We're
Buzz TO.
almost finished setting up. I just clicked on the YouTube. I realized Lamar did some work up there.
Yes, yes. So Black
Progress,
Buzz
man.
TO. Yes, Black Buzz TO. We're on YouTube, and of course we have our Facebook page, Black Buzz TO. Just like us there, share and like and share, right? For YouTube, make sure to subscribe. We're on Instagram as well. The same, Black Buzz, I think .to or something.
Yes.
Yeah, blackbuzz.to. So we out there. If you have something that you're doing in the community and for the community, give us a shout. We will be more than happy, man, to highlight you and hear what you're doing and hear what you're saying. From myself, from Nathaniel, from Shay, from Lamar, shout outs to T Kicks, who's not here, man. We're gonna sign off right now. We wanna make sure to keep it on time.
Yeah.
All right. We'll catch everyone later.
All right.